Alrighty, everybody. So, today I'm joined by Northern Exile for a little bit of a late debrief, or I guess unpacking, of the Adepticon preview. I think I mentioned it on your video there, North, that you recorded with Maka, but yeah, I would have liked to have participated, but it was just a scheduling issue on my end, so I appreciate you extending the offer to join me for a chat a little later after the fact.
Yes. Hello, peasants. Me. Hello. How's it going? I have other things to say on Adepticon that after sleeping on it, making some notes. There's a few other things I didn't mention in the other video, so maybe I can expand upon points that I was making in that video too. So yeah, that's why I love this, because I get to revisit things without clogging up my own channel, which is good. Mm-hmm. Spreading like a virus across YouTube. It's awesome.
Yeah, and sometimes sleeping on an idea or so your thoughts and feelings on particular issues does help clarify things, or
Exactly.
help you think clearly. So I don't know if you had a particular order you want to go through. I have the tabs open and I can just kind of jump around if you wanted to tackle things in a certain order. You mentioned you had notes, but
I do have notes, but me and Maka did it with the host just going through and using the points, so we'll do that again if you want, and then I can skip to my notes, whichever ones is appropriate as we go. That's fine.
Okay, well, then the order I have set in place is Space Wolves first. Space Wolves first.
Yeah, well, yeah. Why wouldn't they be first? Because they're always first.
They're always first. They're the favorites.
They're always the first, yes. Often when they're not, because Dark Angels are the first, so, suck my balls. So no, you can start with this one, because I went on ad nauseum yesterday. I have more things to say, though. Okay,
I have a few bullet points here that I can go through and I guess meander through. And if you want to interject, yeah, feel free. So overall, I will say that these models are nice, right? Like, take away the favoritism and the year of chaos hanging over our heads. These models are very nice. You got some great variety. You finally are getting Primaris models with character. I could easily see a lot of White Scars fans buying this, and I think they're just going to sell like crazy. Because Marines are popular.
That's going to blow your mind, Cathay. This will blow your mind.
What's up?
Can I swear yet?
Yeah, I'm cool with swearing.
Okay. Just because of monetization and stuff, you got to go like 5 minutes before you can swear.
We're not 5 minutes in, for what it's worth.
Okay, so I won't do that then. So it's been 7 years since Primaris Marines came in, and only now are we seeing Primaris Marines with actual character who aren't just reskinned Ultramarines. Have a few Blood Angels characters that have abs on their armor. Doesn't count, right? Just one or two models. This is an entire range where things look a little bit different, because the Space Wolves, this is what we wanted from the start. It took them 7 years, dude, to get here. I just wanted to put that in there, because people don't realize it's been that long since Primaris Marines, that they're old now.
Yeah,
they've been here for a while.
The number when you dropped the number 7 like that, it did surprise me for a second, but you're right. It has been additions. And like, to your point, I had a similar note in my own little list here. But it's as good as these models look. It is annoying to me for the reason you spelled out, right? Because GW, like you said, 7 years ago, brings up Primaris. They introduce these better Marines than Firstborn, right? Their intercessors are not your Blood Claws or Grey Hunters. They're different, they're better, they have 2 wounds. Your Marines only have 1 wound, right, at the time. And that was the status quo, right? But now, like, not even but now, I feel if I was a Space Wolves purist, right? It's a different timeline here, right? But if I was a Space Wolves guy, I probably would have taken intercessors and assault intercessors and incorporated them into the roles in the manner that made sense for the Space Wolves, right? In essence, I would have kitbashed what we have here being previewed, right? It's a little odd to me, because I feel like most Space Wolves purists probably would have incorporated them in that manner, right?
Yeah.
But GW didn't do that. Like, it would have been really easy for them to just release intercessors and assault intercessors, and instruct Space Wolves players on how they should incorporate them into their army, right? Like the old ways of how White Dwarf used to give you instructions, or even codexes used to give you instructions on how to kit bash or paint or preview, right? Or not preview, but rather convert. That's the word I'm looking for. Convert for certain outcomes. But GW didn't do that, right?
Yeah, it's such an interesting, like, this was a huge opportunity for Games Workshop. And again, we're 7 years down the road now, so, you know, this is not going to surprise anybody. But they could have said, look, okay, we're not bringing out upgrade sprues, we're not bringing out new Space Marines for different chapters yet. But, hey, here's an article in White Dwarf. We can show you how to convert your normal Primaris Marines into having fur, into having cloaks that look like Dark Angels, into having, you know, fur Gambesons that look like Space Wolves. You know, that kind of thing could have been done. There could have been a stopgap there, a bit of effort put into making your Primaris Marines your own, rather than us seeing, you know, different colours of exactly the same Primaris Marine, which is lazy sin. You know, it's not really very good.
The community actually did that, right? Like, you'll see people on Instagram, or, you know, they have YouTube channels too. Like, Valbjorn for Space Wolves is the one that comes to mind for me, because he's super popular and super talented, right? Yeah. But he just, like, you know, sculpts a bareheaded, hair in the wind Space Wolves, big Viking energy, right? Very much like in the same sort of tasteful space as what we have here on Preview. But like you said, GW could have had creative support, hobby support, because like how, like it tickles the thematic element of the hobby I like, and the creative element I like of the hobby, where like you would have then allowed Space Wolves players to take something which was plain and compliant, like intercessors and assault intercessors, and incorporate them into their unique force org, right? Like, that's just like chef's kiss hobby for me, right? Like that's art imitating life. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. But they didn't do that because they didn't do that because they're not hobby centric anymore, right? They're product centric. They want you to use intercessors as intercessors. Now that they're selling Grey Hunters and Blood Claws, you're able to have them in your army again, which is cringe and annoying. And yeah, that's basically the gist of like my annoying inkling with this design, because it's another case of GW releasing a product range and having that kind of Thor Ragnarok Loki energy, like your savior is here. Like, oh, like I might reference the meme actually in editing, but yeah, I despise that attitude from GW, because it's like, look, you've created a problem by making Blood Claws bad, and now you're just going to sell them back. It's like they sell solutions to problems which they create. A buddy of mine said that about GW.
This is their MO, isn't it? Like gaming's been doing this for years, where they will literally be like, you know, oh yeah, you don't have that in the game, that's fine. Give us another $5 and you can have it, that kind of a thing. You know, they purposefully leave things out of video games to make sure that they've got DLC to sell at a later point. You know, this is the gamification of Games Workshop. It's happening. You know, it's been happening for years, where they're going down this route of, they've looked at companies like EA, Ubisoft, and all those other companies that are making money hand over fist. And this is one of the backlashes from Creative Assembly. You know, them getting into bed with Games Workshop has spread a lot of brain rot. Simply has. Because Creative Assembly's DLC practices have been absolutely abhorrent for years. You know, and Games Workshop's prices have been abhorrent for years, don't get me wrong, but the way that they do their monetization, the way that they sell you solutions to problems that they've created, is a video game phenomenon that has crept in. Mm-hmm. That is a new thing. Games Workshop, I will give them this, they have not done that throughout their entire history. That's only a few years past have they started doing this, where they literally create a problem and then sell you the solution. You know, Games Workshop in the past used to be about cool things. You know, do you want some cool shit? Okay, well here's some models. You want some Blood Claws, you want some Long Claws, you want some Grey Hunters, you want this, you want that. All different things. And by the way, I've said this before, but one of the only kits that's left from that era are the Grey Knight Paladin Terminator set, where they go, hey, do you want some cool stuff? Do you want knights in space wearing big heavy armor? Okay, here they are. There's Paladins in this box, there's Terminators in this box, there's Grandmasters in this box, there's Champions in this box, there's Librarians in this box. you know, there are, or you can create all of those things and convert them just how you want them from this one box in any pose that you wish. Have fun, right? That's what it used to be. Now it is, oh, you want Grey Hunters, right? Okay, well, instead of just giving you a box of those, you know, at the start, let's make an entirely new sculpt, let's make entirely new things, and sell them as, you know, a box set that's going to be completely overpriced. And, you know, I don't know how much that box is going to be. I'm leaning towards the late 100s. I'm leaning towards the 180, you know, something like that. That's going to be an expensive box.
It'll be hefty. Like these...
Yeah.
I don't know if... It's hard to say right now if they're multi-part or not. Multi-part are easy to build. That could... If they're all monopose and they all go together one way like the Leviathan starter set Marines, it could be a little cheaper, but I am doubtful. Because if it's a multi-part plastic kit and looking at the number of models in the box, it'll be spicy. Price-wise.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be expensive. But again, they are gorgeous models. We're not saying they're not. Like, they are brilliant, and I'm really, really happy with them. Another thing I wanted to talk about was timing. This would have been an amazing, you know, thing to come out at any other point. Just don't do it at Adepticon when you've promised Chaos players so much. This is the brain dead people at Games Workshop not knowing what they've done. It's the right hand not talking to the left. When you want to say it's a well-run company, okay, riddle me this, right? Would you really promise Chaos players sun and the moon and the stars and all sorts, and then you turn up to your first big event of the Year of Chaos, basically the event of the Year of Chaos, Adepticon's the biggest one, and you have nothing for them? I'm sorry, one World Eater's character is not a thing, right? You gave us a crappy robot that looks very, very, very silly, and you gave us...
Oh, we'll get to those. We'll get to those 100%.
And you gave us some odd dude who you've already leaked. So, you know, like, you gave us one thing. And, the timing of Space Wolves...
The timing is definitely going to be a theme, I think, of this conversation, because it's just not the time to to give Space Wolves. Like, it looks like 2-3 unique kits, because unlike the Blood Angels, those are just upgrade sprues. Well, not the Sanguinary Guard. The Death Company stuff was just an upgrade sprue to, you know, Assault Intercessors.
What you mean is the special boys of the Blood Angels got their own things. The normal Marines, you have to upgrade them yourself with another expensive upgrade sprue if you want them to look like Blood Angels. Yeah,
these are very bespoke. Like, you have guys with different, I don't want to say armor marks, but the features, like the design features of different armor marks are here, right? It probably might still technically be Mark 10 Primaris armor, but it's, you know, Space Wolves, Artificer, mix and matched maybe a little bit, but they look really good, and that kind of annoys me a little bit too, given the cloud that's hanging over all of this that we just spoke about. I want to add to the gamification point, just very briefly. Yes, I agree. It is a gamification issue of trying to sell us back solutions to problems they made, withholding rule support to discourage hobby efforts, right? It's gross, but relative to gaming and DLC, it's especially gross because of the creative investment people have with the IP and their armies. And like that's what really grosses me out about it in the case of Games Workshop. Because like if you want to sell me DLC for, pick your video game, like, okay, it looks cool, it's cosmetic, maybe it's pay to win, whatever. I can choose to buy it or I can choose not to. But when your hobby efforts in something where there's this heavy creative investment and passion investment, it's just there's no other word for it. Super fucking gross.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can't. Again, it's timing. I mean, as a Grey Knight fan, we'll get into that a bit later on. But as a Grey Knight fan, you know, this stings. Like, it is literally somebody on Auspex Tactics pulled up a really cool. He didn't mean to do this, I don't think, but he pulled up a really cool anti-argument comment. And somebody said, "I'm not a Grey Knights player, but I'm shocked and flabbergasted that this is almost aggressive in the hatred of Grey Knights at this point. This is you may as well. It would have been less of an insult to give nothing. Like, that's what he said. It would be less of an insult to do nothing. And I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, they took the worst model we have. Everybody hates. By the way, Auspex, like your channel, mate. You're talking fucking nonsense about some people liking the Dread Knight. I'm a Grey Knight fanboy. I've been involved in Grey Knights for upwards of 10 years now. I know dozens of Grey Knight players. Everybody thinks that model looks fucking stupid. Sorry. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that, you know, even people who love Grey Knights, and I love what Dread Knights do on the table, pretty good. But even I, who's the most forgiving Grey Knight person in the world because they're all so cool, looks at that and goes, that's a stupid piece of shit.
Well, you see, North, that's because you have good taste. I'll play a little bit of good faith counter argument here. I believe there are probably people out there who like the Dread Knight, if for nothing else, because it's something uniquely theirs, and you're forcing yourself to like it. Those kinds of people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
I just, yeah.
It's not maybe as earnest as a genuine like, but you know, sometimes. And I have this in my notes here. People liking shit, and you see that. That's a lot of the toxic positivity, right? Yeah. But in any case, we can probably move on to Grey Knights quickly. I just want to scroll down here. Yeah, the Grey Hunters. Oh no, what are they called? The Head Takers. Again, awesome sculpts. Really, really good looking stuff here. Like the dual wielding guy with the cool helmet, the Norse helmet. I think you and Maka spoke about it, so I don't want to highlight it and have the same conversation twice. For your sake. But they look awesome.
No, go for it. Like, I want to talk more about that. Go for it.
The only thing that fucking annoys me about it a little bit, and it's a little bit nitpicky, but it's like, my God, it's like Games Workshop just really wants to make sure every brand of Marine has a 3-man melee squad that's just for them, like your Inner Circle companions, your Sanguinary Guard, your Blade Guard veterans, your 8-bound. We'll talk about 8-bound. Yeah, it's just, of course, right? Like, of course. But like I said, when we started talking about Space Wolves, the sculpts they're nice, man. They're really nice.
They put a lot of effort in. Like, we're not, again, this is not a commentary on the bad quality of the models. The models look great.
Yeah, that's just a nitpicky thing from a design point of view.
The timing is wrong. And the need is wrong. You know, this is the equivalent of Ragnar Blackmane cutting off Ghazghkull's head. When Ghazghkull is being chased by motherfucking Grimaldus, right? Yarrick. They're literally in a team together chasing Ghazghkull, and then Ragnar Blackmane goes, "Nah, cut off his head now. It's fine." Like, that's the kind of thing we're talking. In lore, the way you feel about that's how I feel about this release. Right? Okay. It's Chaos's time.
Mm-hmm.
This shouldn't have been a headline thing at Adepticon. Space Wolves, you should have gotten your things this year. What you've got now, you should have gotten this year. I'm not saying you shouldn't have nice things or new things. You should have done this year. But it should have been its own thing in May. Just a random Tuesday, bang, here you go, fuckers. Here's some new Space Wolves. And everyone goes, wow, it's awesome, brilliant. Mm-hmm. You know, they're out in the summer, brilliant, fantastic. And Adepticon was for your filling out of the Emperor's Children.
I was just going to say the same. Yeah, that's what I would have expected.
It should have been Fulgrim coming back, should have been front and center at this event. And then you can bring back Russ. And by the way, don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining, Games Workshop. You are doing Armageddon again with Angron, and the Grey Knights are there, fine. But guess who else is there? The Space Wolves, again. Guess what Primarch's coming back at Armageddon, right? Guess how many Grey Knights he'll kill just by looking at them? Yeah, us, right? If they're going to do it all over again, I'm calling it now, they just cannot stop giving this undeserving faction wins over everybody else. It is brain rot. It really is. If you like the old grimdark nature of 40k, like, you look at Space Wolves and you giggle, but in bitterness, you're like, oh my god. Oh my god, but you were so cool in the Heresy. You were retards then, to be fair, but like you were cool though, you know. You're just like the stupid little brother, right? We're gonna get that though with Armageddon when that comes back. We're gonna get this whole event should have been chaos. Still at a post. You shouldn't have had Grey Knights. Shouldn't have had anybody. Just chaos. Give me Fulgrim. Give me New Iron Warrior sculpts. Let me build a Renegade Warband that isn't full of these stupid brass details that nobody wants to paint. Give me new chaos. Give me new flavors of chaos. Give chaos my ass. I'm sticking up for chaos players. They've been mistreated for years for this kind of stuff. You know, they're meant to be the big bads. You just get off your asses and do something other than fucking Space Marines. The 12th time this month. Please. I'm a Space Marine player. Space Marines are the coolest thing on planet Earth. I get you, Games Workshop. I get you. But what is light without shadow? You need your foil. Superman needs his kryptonite. We need chaos. We need it. Give us more, please. My God.
I wholly agree. It's a drum I like to beat as well. It's lame because like I said, these will be purchased by probably every fan of Marine for conversion, if nothing, they just want more character. Yeah, I could see Chaos Space Marine players just getting, I want more variety of sculpts. I want more of a Renegade flavor, right? These sculpts are awesome. And what sucks, again, not to poo-poo on Space Wolves fans, it's, a win is a win, but if this was a more generic Renegade squad, the Loyalist players would buy it too. The Space Wolves players would still buy it too for the same reason. All the creative hobby enthusiasts would still buy the Marines because, like you said, Marines are fucking cool. All right. Maybe we should move on from Space Wolves though, because there are a few other tabs, and I think we have thoughts on those too. If anything else you want to add on the Space Wolves thing, and we can always circle back if there's.
No, I'm too depressed. But Space Wolves fans.
Oh no!
I have to say, look, you deserve cool shit too. I'm not saying you didn't deserve it. You should have gotten your stuff this year. You've been so mistreated for years on your sculpts. Absolutely, rock on, dude. You need more stuff. I'm with you on that one. I'm a Grey Knight player. I need more stuff too. So I appreciate when other people get good stuff. You just didn't need it now, right?
Yeah.
This is Games Workshop being stupid and telling us they're doing one thing and then doing another because they don't care. They don't give a shit about what you think. They're just like, nah, you're gonna buy it anyway. Shut up, nerd. You're gonna buy it. You're gonna buy our slop.
It does feel that way, especially on the chaos side of things. Okay, let's jump ahead to let's move towards chaos. But sorry to make you more depressed, but let's talk about Grey Knights next. On the Grey Knights page here, we have a Crusade book first that has a Grey Knights on the cover fighting bloodletters, corn demons. It looks like that's kind of cool.
Corn.
And then you scroll down, you can see it's an Armageddon campaign against, like you said, Grey Knights and Space Wolves are there too, which they mention in the text, I believe. But I think if you're going to have an Armageddon chaos-centric campaign, if that's what this was supposed to be, how much cooler would it have been if it was World Eaters, World Eaters, Angron versus Orcs and Ghazghkull with Steel Legion, right? As our Imperial presence, our Imperial point of view, right? And they're just in the shit of it, as per usual, right? I would be more compelled by that. Personally, probably wouldn't sell as well because, you include the Marines because, they're popular. But in my narrative heart, I would love that so much more than another round of Angron getting dumpstered by Knights and Space Marines.
I've never been a fan of campaign books. I think they're a fine addition, But if you're giving, let me rephrase that. I'd never been a fan of core campaign books giving away core lore.
You'd rather have that be on like a codex, just like updates.
Yes, I would rather, or even a Black Library, right? I would rather hire good writers who can write good lore. And what I would do if I was, I would have a compendium, like a lore compendium for everybody. So like the Chaos Black Legion compendium for 10th edition will be the entire story of the Black Legion during 10th edition. And it's a massive big book, hardcover from Black Library, very expensive. But if you want to know what's going on in the lore right now with art, there you go. Right, that's what Black Legion have been doing for the past 100 years in the setting that 10th edition is going to cover. That's what I would do. Doing it in campaign books that nobody reads. Let's be honest. Most of you don't read these things, right? Why would you, unless you're going to play the campaign? So putting your core lore in these things isn't good, because then it creates so many barriers between the cool shit and the audience, where they've got to jump through these hoops and buy this book and then read this book about a game they're not going to play because they don't have enough friends to play the campaign with. Like, why would they? You're putting things in place of the story, and that's stupid. In terms of the Armageddon book, will lead into Grey Knights, I suppose. The Armageddon book that's coming out. I like Ullanor. I like Armageddon. If you know, you know, right? I like Armageddon. I love Hell's Reach. Love all that shit. It's great, wonderful. The one scene I really love from Hell's Reach is where the Titan's coming through the gate to join the city's defense, and the Princeps, who's like walking the Titan, is like talking through the Vox to Grimaldus, and she's like, "Look at me go!" and then taking down buildings and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, all right. Can you just stop fucking around? Get over here, please." That's just wonderful, right? That's kind of stuff I want from my Black Library. That's kind of stuff I want from not in campaign books. But this is going to be Space Wolf centric. I know you mentioned Grey Knights and Calm Demons. That is a bait and switch. Just like the last one was, it was a bait and switch. This one's going to be just the same. It'll be Grey Knights fighting against Angron, Ragnar Blackmane, or some other really bad Space Wolf character killing somehow Angron and taking all the glory, and then Lehman Russ coming back and killing a load of Grey Knights for, saying that other people need to die for seeing us. That's basically what's going to happen. Or they're going to take... I'd rather they just took away the special nobody knows about Grey Knights now. I'd rather be like, look, chaos is everywhere. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather they just did that. But, they'll never put down a stick with which they can beat Grey Knights with. So, there we go. It's literally... I can't put it better than that quote I told you before, is that this seems aggressive. It just seems a troll. It seems like somebody's gone... This'll be really funny, right? What's the worst thing we could do with Grey Knights for this thing, just to really annoy them? Well, we could just not do anything. Yeah, that's old hat, that's old hat. We need to do something. We'll just annoy them. It needs to be something so they can't even complain. I know, I guess a zinger, right? What's that model they all hate? Because I'm a games writer, I don't know the name of anything, right? I don't know. Warhammer's for nerds. Oh, that Dread Knight thing? Yeah, okay. Let's do that Dread Knight thing, but give it a skirt.
Yeah.
It'd be great. I love it. We'll give it a skirt and a big-ass book behind its head. I don't know. Just fucking throw it on there. It's fine. And even better, tell the guys presenting at the show that they need to call it a new model. Oh, that would really piss them off. This is so funny, right? We'll do that, right? And then we just sit back and watch the comments roll in. And do you know what the piece of resistance is? We'll do a brand new Space Wolves box. Oh, this is going to be great, right? It's almost like they literally went down the checklist of, yeah, that'll fuck them off, that'll fuck them off, that'll fuck them off. Bang, there you go. Don't do lies on live stages. Do not tell me that you're bringing out new models in a new Grey Knight box set when they're the same models we've had for 20 fucking years with a skirt.
Yeah,
it's a baby carrier wearing a dress.
A few upgrades, right? The flail, I think, is new, and then the accessories. That's it, right?
It's 2 weapons, skirt, and the book. That's 3 weapons because one of them's the multi-melter, right?
Right. Okay.
It's almost like they've literally gone in and scientifically, genius, and said, what's the best way? Star Wars fans, those of you who didn't like The Last Jedi, right? This is that for Grey Knight. This is that. Like, they literally just gone, here's a thing you don't like, with 1 extra sprue, and go fuck yourself.
It is a bizarre choice to conclude to, and I can see how you can draw the through line to create that narrative you laid out, because I mean, I don't know. It certainly is plausible. I don't know if there's... I don't think there's malicious intent. I think they're just... I'm going to always... Well, not always. I'm going to assume I'm gonna assume
So
there's
nice.
just thanks, man. I'm gonna
So nice.
I'm gonna assume it's incompetence rather than malevolence. Okay,
Okay. Right.
that's what I'll assume. But it's
I
a
know
baffling.
people can be.
It's
Trust
a
me.
it's a baffling choice to spend your resources on this, right? Because you could have easily
Yes.
made some awesome psychic, like I think I commented on the video just that, the video of yours on just this, a psychic dreadnought. Like what chapter should have a librarian dreadnought? Like, sorry, Blood Angels fans, like it's not Blood Angels, it's Grey Knights. Okay, if I'm gonna be honest, if it's gonna be just one chapter is gonna be the special snowflake to have librarian dreadnoughts, it's gonna be Grey Knights. And you have a nice Redemptor kit. It's perfectly serviceable. It's very upgradable, as you can see people doing with conversions and everything. So why not just have a Grey Knights upgrade sprue on the Redemptor base? Don't have to call it a Redemptor. You could upgrade it with the parts in such a way so it doesn't have to be called a Redemptor for lore purposes, right? It can be just a librarian dreadnought for Grey Knights. And you could have made use of all of these upgrade sprue resources, and it just would have looked so much better. I also think flails are stupid as a weapon. I've been convinced of this, and I think it's especially stupid if you have your body exposed on the front of your body, baby carrier style, because that flails. I don't know if you know this, but flails flail around when they hit stuff, and this guy's gonna take a giant flail to the face. Is my suspicion, okay? But
I get that. Like Warhammer's silly. I'll never have a go at it for being silly. I mean, it's fine, but like, it just. How do I put this?
look, I like.
Someone
Go ahead.
I've spoken to people I know people who've worked in that studio. I know how the politics work. It's just something about this reveal that just made me smile knowingly. Like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Like, it's not against me. No, it's Grey Knights have been hated for a long time. For a long time, this has been something that's been. Matt Ward has a lot to answer for when it comes to Grey Knights. It's one of the reasons why I don't hate Matt Ward because he wrote bad lore. I hate Matt Ward because he made people hate the army I like, and they still do it today, right? It's almost like it's illegal for Grey Knights to have things because of what Matt Ward did. Ultramarines have gotten away with it because they're the poster boys. They can't be touched, right? It just is what it is. They're on the front of every box.
Well, I think.
Grey Knights, though,
go ahead.
Grey Knights, though, it's a wrestling analogy, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, there was a thing called the curtain call, and it was a very controversial thing because it was bad guy wrestlers and good guy wrestlers hugging in the ring to say goodbye to each other because two of them were leaving the company, right? It's not a thing you're allowed to do back in the day. So, of the two guys who stayed, one of them was called Shawn Michaels, and he was the world champion, so they couldn't punish him, even though he instigated the whole thing. Hello, Ultramarines, right? Who did they punish? They punished Triple H, the other guy who was there, right? Because he wasn't the world champion, and he was gettable, right? Hello, Grey Knights, right? That's where we are with these two, in my opinion.
The analogy fits. If I for the sake of conversation and offering a different perspective, a devil's advocate, I would just say, I think the Ultramarines have also had, since the Matt Ward era Ultramarines, they've had a lot of Black Library exposure, reforming them quite a bit, making them much more tasteful, a bit of a I don't want to say rebranding, but reframing, let's say, right? Like, I think a lot of the Gilliman returning stuff, a lot of Gilliman and the Ultramarines' point of view post his return has alleviated that bad taste for a lot of people. But the Grey Knights haven't had that, and maybe that applies to what you're saying, though, right? Like, why haven't the Grey Knights been given that opportunity, right? Why they don't get the olive branch?
Precisely. That's exactly what have been. The one thing they got was their the Emperor's Gift novel and things like that. But even in those, what did they cover? The Months of Shame. It was basically a Space Wolf novel masquerading as a Grey Knight novel. This is what I'm sick of. I'm not. When you buy something to do with Ultramarines, you'll know you're getting Ultramarines. When you buy something to do with Grey Knights, there's 90% chance it's not going to have Grey Knights in it very much. It will be in the first quarter, and then it'll be about somebody else.
Yeah,
right?
I think that lines up with what I've experienced as well. That's a great point.
Yeah, and we've got this. We've gone into the meta here of what is essentially badly timed, badly done model reveal. But I still stick to the point that you could have not annoyed anybody by just not doing anything. You may as well, one sprue, you may as well have not done this. What's the point? Now, if you're layering it into Armageddon, you could just say, here's a new Grey Knight box set for Armageddon that's coming out. It's going to be a really good deal. Blah, 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 blah. It's not new models, but, it'll be next edition. You'll be getting new models. But, again, why would you buy this kit? They're going to do Primaris Grey Knights in 11th edition. So why would you get this? Why would you bother? Well, the thing is, they don't tell you they're doing 11th edition Primaris Grey Knights. They want you to think that maybe they won't. Maybe you need to get these.
Yeah.
It's cynical,
exactly.
And I hate it, and it's not honest. And they should have just said, do you know what? They've clearly got Primaris Grey Knights right there, ready to go. There's no reason why they couldn't have just gone, here's a model refresh. Everybody at Armageddon's getting a refresh, right? Grey Knights and Space Wolves, that would have been such a coming together moment for Grey Knights and Space Wolves.
Oh, that's a great point. Shit, yeah.
That would have been so cool. That would have been like, we're both getting our stuff. Hey, you're getting stuff, we're getting stuff. This is going to be awesome. And we can all pat each other on the back, right? But they couldn't do that, could they? Because Space Wolves have to have their moment in the sun, and nobody likes Grey Knights at the studio. Is what it is. It was mean-spirited. I will say that. It came across to me as a bit mean-spirited. It was like even you're not this stupid. And then again, they did call it the Year of Chaos.
This is what I mean. I don't know. I don't know. The Year of Chaos, and Grey Knights to get a new baby carrier. Like, what? What is going on?
Yeah, I see your point.
So I think
don't
there's enough in, I guess, evidence or criteria to look at it both ways. I think. Maybe we'll move on from Grey Knights. Maybe we'll move on. I think, that's the end of the article, yeah. Anyways. Next one is, let's see here. Oh, yeah, the chaos stuff. So, so I fucking hate 8-bound, right? I've always, it's such a stupid idea. Okay, the kit is what it is. I don't like the design. Some people do. The 3-model kit that has extra pieces to make 2 unit. Okay, it is what it is. All of that aside, I despise 8-bound from a lore point of view because possessed are a word bearer's thing, right? I have a word bearer's collection, and it annoys me to no end that because they just had no fucking ideas for what to do for world eaters when they got their new range. They're like, oh, let's just make them have the best possessed. Fucking 8 possessed by 8 demons. I don't think I've exactly shared these. I think I've told Maka, but I don't think I've expressed this to you. But yeah. So anyways, I hate 8-bound, and I looked at the range when world eaters came out, and I'm like, oh, it's really hurting for leaders, right? Especially going into 10th when they reincorporated leaders in the game system, right? Because then you have Khorne Berserkers that don't have a Lord on foot, right? You have Khorne the Betrayer and a Chaos Space Marine Master of Execution, which I don't want to build my if I'm building Kiefer's World Eaters warband, right? I want to have my Chaos Lord lead that warband, right? I can't do it. Right? But I have a mounted Lord on Juggernaut, but I don't have any Juggernaut riders for him to lead either, right? So it's super awkward going to 10th edition. And everyone kind of hoped at the time of the World Eaters release that you'd get an expansion, a wave 2, like what Sisters of Battle's got, right?
Yeah.
But as we sort of approached this Year of Chaos, I began to think oh, you know what? If they're combining the Demon Rangers for the God-marked Legions, they don't have an incentive to really expand the range for any of those factions, right? So then I started to give up on that dream, right? It's a bit of a dream, a bit of a long shot anyways. But I started to be like, okay, that's probably not likely. You're probably going to get the single obligatory character release. And you know what? Probably. It's not what I would prefer, but it probably will be Khorne the Betrayer because he's a bit small compared to Typhus and especially Lucius, right? You see new Lucius, he's huge, right?
Yeah, he's massive, yeah.
And Khorne, while not extremely old. It's just a bit small and could benefit from a reimagining. But instead, with that one obligatory, like, minimum viable product character slot for the Codex, we have a fucking 8-bound Lord. It's just like, again, the timing. Sure, it makes sense for the 8-bound to have a leader because they do their weird shit and they're possessed. As much as I hate it, that's what they're into. Sure, give them a Lord. But when you're hurting for Lords so badly in in World Eaters, like, give a fucking Build-A-Bear Lord on foot so you can actually have your own warband leader, right? I don't know, like, that's, I guess, my rant on it. Just, it's so fucking stupid.
I get what you mean. I mean, what do you think of this idea? Like, I had this idea a while ago. I've not said it even on my channel yet. In that, there are certain legacy characters in Warhammer 40,000 that deserve more. And what I mean by that is, the big boys. So, Khan the Betrayer. Do not bring out one model for Khan the Betrayer. Give us 3 models of the same guy in different poses, in different scenarios, doing different things. Because he's special, right? You don't use one of them in because they all represent the same guy, right? But you've got 3. You got a charging Khan. You've Khan there standing ready for battle. You got Khan ducking from incoming fire. That kind of a thing, right? That's what they should do for Lucius. They should do it for Khan. They should do it for
Baraban and Typhus.
Baraban, yeah, and Dantius, yeah, and who else? Typhus, right? All of them should get these different models, and they should be the guys that you can use to lead your dudes, and each of those should have an underling. If you can do it for, Ultramarines and Space Wolves, your 2 favorites, right? You can do it for these. Why don't we have a lieutenant level character in? We do. He's in the fucking Black Legion book. That the World Eaters guy.
Talking about Harkin?
Weird.
Oh no.
Yeah, the World Eaters guy with the gun.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He's just a World Eater who fires a gun. It's like,
he's like a ex-devastator, like heavy bolter guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love him. It's like, this is great. We could do with him. That's awesome. Like, you have the characters there. Give us those. Like, do we need this random 8-bound dude who just no? And yeah, you're right. 8-bound do suck. Like, it is a bit silly.
It just annoys me from a word bearer's point. Like you were expressing like a bit more of a personal grievance with the Grey Knight situation. I'll do the same here for the word bearers. It's just annoying, right? Because that's supposed to be your special thing. You know what it would be like? It'd be like if word bearers got a unique kit and it was a group of fucking arena fighters, a group of gladiators, which you'd think would be like the World Eaters 3-man elite melee squad, right? And what kills me is last minute, like, the models are in production, they take their time to make, but the lore is basically flexible until you send it to print, right? So it would have been really easy to just, for someone to say, hold up, guys. Maybe making them possessed by 8 demons is fucking stupid. Maybe we just make them arena champions. Guys who are part of a gladiatorial cult in the fucking... What's the name of their ship? Their big Gloriana ship? Whatever. In the bowels... I can't forget.
Nemesis Lex? Is that it?
I can't... It doesn't sound right. But regardless, you know what... you know what I'm talking about. The World Eaters have their vengeful spirit, right? They have their Gloriana ship, it was Angron's flagship, right? And there is
the Conqueror.
The Conqueror, perfect. Yeah, so there is a gladiator arena in the Conqueror, right? Why wouldn't there be a cult of warriors, probably everyone would participate, of just trying to see who's the best fighter for 10,000 years, right? And then these 8-bound are the ones who are, blessed by Khorne because they won they're the veteran fighters, right? And then problem solved. You don't have to even have possessed by 8 demons. It's so cringe. It's like for children, this idea. It's like, oh, your guy's possessed by 1 demon? Well, my guy, he's possessed by 8 demons. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. It's so stupid. Yeah. And then because they're committing to that, they couldn't do a soft retcon, which they should have done. Now this guy, he's possessed by a bloodthirster, and yet, he looks less possessed than a basic possessed Chaos Space Marine. It's like, I can't get over it. It's so dumb.
There is a lot of untapped potential in Chaos. I think that's the main takeaway I had from Adepticon was, you have all of these things to draw upon. Here are some Space Wolves. Like that is in terms of Chaos. Hey guys, we have all of these cool things we can draw upon for Chaos. Here's some Space Wolves. Like that was my takeaway. You have Word Bearers there. Word Bearers are a legion. Like they're a fucking legion.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, let me say that again. There is a legion of Word Bearers, 120,000 Word Bearers. Maybe more now because of the screwed up way that they get new Marines, right? Probably a lot more than what they had in the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, it's probably easier.
Let's go over to Iron Warriors. Again, unified legion. 150,000 Marines there, straight away, with 10,000 years of combat experience. Where are they?
There should be a sector of space that's just occupied by the Iron Warriors that is unbreakable. Like the Imperium can't get a hold on Perturabo's like dominion, or like pick a few systems, or throw it together. That would be that'd be such a cool like narrative win, just to have that. What is your guys' claim to fame, right? Well, now there's something defined, right?
Could be entire swathes of the Dark Imperium, which is what I thought they were going to do. Dark Imperium is here. Cool, awesome. So we're going to have the Iron Warriors over here. We're going to have the Word Bearers over here. And they're going to have their own principalities that they can't fuck with. And then we're going to get the who's going to go after the Iron Warriors? Imperial Fists, motherfucker. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to have, Dawn's lads going up against Perturabo, but they can't beat him because they've got a Primarch and the Imperial Fists don't. Hint, hint. Right? And that's the story you tell. And then if you want to bring back Rogel Dawn, you can. But if you want to give the Iron Warriors another win, you can, because they've got a Primarch and the Imperial Fist don't. That's fine. And there are so many narrative jump-off points where you could make really cool kits that they just don't do. Because they don't have to. They don't need to, because we're all going to buy this Space Wolf box anyway, including me.
Yeah,
so what's the point?
It's a vicious cycle, man. But like I said, if those models came out and they just weren't branded Space Wolves, they were just renegades, let's say, I think people would still buy them. I think a lot of the creatives would still end up buying them, personally.
What do we have next on the docket?
Next is the Death Guard model that they previewed at LVO.
Is it Cathay?
Sorry?
Is it Cathay next?
I'm just going through the other Chaos stuff. Very small stuff. We have the Death Guard model previewed at LVO, which I think no one dislikes. I think everyone pretty much likes this model, from what I've seen.
I will say one thing. It's a lot of my friends who do Death Guard have been saying for ages, we really need a new model to lead our Poxwalkers. We've got too many people who can lead
too many support characters. Yeah, okay, so that
too many big Marines.
That is a bit of a problem. I'll acknowledge that from a Death Guard point of view. Their range is filled with all these support characters, kind of like GSC. But
can't use them.
But that's the bed GW has made with this, like, we must have a product to sell. We must have a model, even if it's just a single infantry minimum slot of a leader to sell with a codex, right? That seems to be something they like doing. They don't want to sell a codex without some product, it seems. Maybe Knights would be the exception. But yeah, so surprise, surprise, Death Guard get another character model, which they're not hurting for characters, but I do like the model here. The same way I like the Space Wolves model. Yeah, I think you change his headpiece, you change his helmet, and I think he's like the best looking Death Guard character sculpt.
I love the sword on his back. I love the way he's reaching for it. Yeah. That's cool.
I like that he doesn't have 7 different types of mushrooms growing off of him. Like the way...
Yeah. No more Nurglings. We're good.
Yeah, I think it's like less is more, right? So he looks good. And then below that we have the Thousand Suns Battle Automata, which is, I think, the right idea, but terribly executed. I think you want to flex. You want to flex the Sorceress Battle Automata that the Thousand Suns used to work with and alongside. That was a unique flex for them. I think it makes sense to carry that through. I even think it makes sense to warp it so it's not a carbon copy. But like the Primarchs, you'd want echoes of what it used to be, right? which you don't really have here. I also don't think the paint job is doing any favors. But I still think a Castellax would have been much more preferable.
Me too. Yep.
Unfortunately. But I think everything's been sort of said about these guys, unless there's anything you want to add.
No, I don't like that model. It reminds me of the Watchmaster from the Death Watch. Sorry. I don't like stationary models that don't look like they're moving or doing something. Even robots, he should just be walking forwards into the enemy, firing his gun. Standing there like he's taking a dump isn't a good model, and it never will be. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's you're not wrong. It'll make for just a more boring silhouette. I mean, if that's what they like, if that's the idea they're going for, these like very stationary
players. If you want models that look like that, go play
Battletech. You're not wrong though. You're not wrong.
They just stand there like little toys. If you want that? Go play Battletech. I've got all love for the universe of Battletech in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Models, not so much, right? Not my thing. And the prices, oh my god! I'll get off this tangent in just a sec.
Mm-hmm.
But when I walked into my local hobby store and I saw the Battletech prices, I was like, "You want how much? What that? Like it's something my daughter would play with for like £2 at the local store. What? This is anyway. Sorry, I'll shut up.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I think the internet's been talking about this rather famously or infamously. So I don't know how much more I can add to it. It seems it's a swing and a miss. It's going. Look, most GW models at least look good. But every now and again, you get one like this, right? You get one like the Desolation Marines, right? The Invader ATV. So it's unfortunate Space Wolves have to eat that. But you know what? I think this is the right unit type to go with, right? Like I much prefer Battle Automata than a 3-man melee squad for the Thousand Sons of their best warriors with Kopeshes, right? I think this is much more of a better way to go, and I think you'll probably get people converting Count Sas 3D printing way better alternatives for whatever these things are called. Sekitar robots. All right, let's jump ahead here. We have match play mission deck. We don't. Whatever. I like that there seems to be some narrative inclusion, but yeah, that's my big
extra task.
That's my big commentary for that. Nice to see different mission maps. Model wise, okay, now we're into Age of Sigmar. New spearheads. I don't think this is news. I think these are existing products.
I think we're looking at basically Cathay now is the other big one.
Yes. Tyranids. We have Tyranids in the kill team.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. Like, I like the sculpts. Tyranids need more things. Fine.
Yeah,
they look cool.
I think it's cool. I've played Kill Team quite a bit. I think Raveners were the right choice.
I'm never going to complain about Xenos getting more love ever.
Yeah.
So
odd paint scheme, like it's nitpicky, super nitpicky. But I thought this was all about Leviathan this edition. I was the same
about the kill scheme, about the paint scheme. I was the same, and somebody said to me, "Oh, let's just every Tyranid player does it like that." I was like, "No, do they? Okay, well, that's not for me." But there were really cool models not ruined, but like really let down by the painter there because they were a bit too garish.
Yeah, they're not poorly painted. I want to stress that they're well painted, but it just when I had to do a double take at first because at first I thought this was just a new random Xeno species. I'm like, oh no, hold on, these are Raveners, right? And I guess it's because maybe in part I've been conditioned by Games Workshop in their branding, right? I would expect Leviathan scheme Tyranids if they're gonna have a Tyranid kill team, right? But look, new Raveners is a win, and they look cool. They look cool.
They do. Nothing to add.
Yeah, there's Admech there in that box set as well, and some Tyranid terrain, but it's more like kill team terrain, which is an important distinction. So it'll be probably very useful for kill team.
It's going to be smaller. Yeah. I was hoping this would be... Maka pointed that out to me. I thought, oh, this is great, but then he's like, no, these are really, really small. I was like, oh,
yeah, the picture's deceptive.
Yeah.
Right? You think maybe like those spires are huge, but like no, they're all to scale to each other. When you look at the the nicer photography of the models battling it out. And then we have Old World, Grand Cathay. This I like the aesthetic and I like the models, and I don't know, I have nothing negative to say. I mean, really,
no, I think this is the one of two unadulterated wins. Tyranids being one. This is the other one. This is unadulterated. This is just the win.
I can't say anything bad. Like, look at all this shit.
Yeah, this is the most brain dead move. You know, anybody going into Games Workshop, like, hey, you now run Games Workshop, what do you do? One of the 10 things they would do is Grand Cathay, release it now, yesterday, please. So many people out there who play Warhammer Total War who want to buy this army, please just release it. Cool. You do Miao Ying, who is the dragon, you do her in 2 forms, and you do all of the base units that you would use in an army on Total War Warhammer. Done. Right? And that's exactly what they did. They painted them up nicely. Well done, Games Workshop. These look great. This is exactly what they should be doing. Unadulterated win. They should have just led with this. This should have been one of the top 2. It should have been Chaos. All of the Chaos, and then Cathay, and I would have been like 10 out of 10. Absolute banger of a show. Brilliant. Exactly what you need to do. Exactly what you promised. Fantastic. They may announce some things later on in the year when it comes to like maybe I think there's a Las Vegas thing later in the year or something. They may do something later on in the year for Chaos, but like it's just such a just as a final point, such a Games Workshop thing to do, to tell you Year of Chaos, and then the biggest event of the year, the first one where you announce how the year's gonna go. Next to no Chaos, here's some Space Wolves, go fuck yourself. And by the way, to any Grey Knight people here, yeah, you can all jump in the river. We don't like you anyway. Oh, sorry. Said the quiet bit out loud there. Sorry, lads. Come back. We want your money. We want your money. Why don't you start a Space Wolf army? You know, it'll be fine. You know, that kind of, fuck them. Anyway.
No, I agree. Yeah, it is incredibly tone deaf. It's timing, man. Timing. It's
tone deaf is a good phrase. That's the phrase. Tone deaf. Exactly. I was looking for that. Yeah, that's it. That's what I meant. Yeah.
So I'm just
tone deaf for presentation.
I'm ogling these Cathay models as you're chatting there. Oh, they look so good.
They're great. Like I'm so tempted to just, you know, it's a shame you're gonna hate me for this. It's a shame they're attached to the old world. Because I've got no rank and flank. Not really my bag. I like playing it every now and again, but you know, not really my bag. Put them on circle bases. You've got a customer. You know, I might be into that. Think about for Age of Sigmar as a city of Sigmar. I'll be in it.
Oh, I think people could easily convert.
Oh yeah, it's the rules you don't have, which would be my sticking point.
Right.
Because, the more simple and streamlined a game system is, the more I want to stick to the rules. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, the more so Age of Sigmar, 1-page rules. I'm a stickler. I'm like, no, we're gonna play them verbatim. We're gonna get every single rule right because there's only 12 of them, right? You know, so with 40k, I'm like, oh, I have to stop caring.
Yeah, and then you think of something like Crusade. Like, I love narrative, but not like this. Like, you don't add pages upon pages of rules just to inundate your player. Anyways, that's a tangent. I think that's it for Adepticon. The last tab I have here is just re-releasing old Beastmen for the old world, which
sorry, Beastmen. I don't care. Like, sorry.
I'm not like a fan of Beastmen. Just from a outsider looking in, I think, sure, maybe Beastmen lovers are super jazzed about this.
I think the Beastmen people are so few and far between. I bet those ones sitting there in the presentation fell off his chair when they were like, "You're doing what? I thought that was just going to be another Space Wolf. We're doing some Beastmen. Oh my god." Yeah,
I think you're gonna have, well, like we've seen with other old world returning models. You'll just see like old miniatures returning at modern prices, which is annoying to me. I also like that they have this badge here, this returning to plastic, and then you have this other one where it says returning in metal. and I think I find it very funny. I don't know. I feel like they put this badge here to make it feel like you should be excited about this. This is returning in metal.
That's one of my closing points, man. My closing points is, don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining. Like, as I've said before, ancient saying, but it's true. Don't tell me that these are all brand new models in the Grey Knight box. Don't tell me that me paying full price for models that are 20, maybe even 30 years old in some cases is reasonable. Not. It really isn't. And it is none. You have all of the narrative choice in the world. You didn't have to do Armageddon again. Didn't have to. That's when people say to me, oh, well, they're bringing out Armageddon. Of course they want to do more Grey Knights. Dude, they've got the whole galaxy to play with. Why do we need to go back to... Leave Armageddon alone, these poor people, right? Just leave it alone from it.
They can't help it. Because it's nostalgia, right? It's like what people know.
Do something else.
Yeah, they should. They should do something else.
Do Nakmund properly. Do a full thing of the Nakmund Gauntlet. Finally, it's getting decided. Who owns the Nakmund Gauntlet? Let's do it, right? Got all the big players there. Brilliant. No, we're back to Armageddon again. They didn't have to do that, right? So, they chose to do it because they want... You know what they want to do? They want all of you idiots to buy old Grey Knight models to clear out their stores before they do Primaris and 11th edition. And you'll still give them a round of applause when they do that next edition, when you've just spent £300 on your new army this edition with your old models. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah,
doing it to sell the new Space Wolf stuff and the old Grey Knight stuff.
You're right, and it's a shame it is that way because, we know that that's how they operate now. The precedent has been set. They don't want to tell you new aspect warriors are coming, but, here's a battle box during Christmas time for you to buy a whole bunch of old aspect warrior stock, right? That is the MO. And it's super lame because it'd be really nice to have product roadmaps so you could plan your army because it's expensive in dollars and in time and labor, in passion, right? It takes time to build the army, to do the thing they're selling you into. And it's frustrating when they turn around and be like, oh yeah, all the stuff you just did, we're actually, here's what you just did, but it looks way better. So you basically wasted your time and money.
Yeah, literally just, you may as well not have done that.
Yeah. Thanks for rewarding my hobby efforts, Games Workshop, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for new stuff. I just think timing was wrong. It was tone deaf. For a lot of it, it just showed that they don't listen to you whatsoever. They don't give a shit about what the fans think, what they say, especially if they're coloured grey, silver, and on knights. Just moving on. But it's the underlying cynicism that I don't like. It's the buy these old models in this new box set. Why? Because you're getting technically a 30% discount. That's great, Games Workshop. Who set the original price? Yeah, rest my case.
Yeah.
My case. Yeah?
No further evidence required.
You want to buy these really squat, stupid... Sorry, lads, they're behind me. Cover your ears. You want to buy these really old, squat-looking Marines called Grey Knights that look shit compared to Primaris Marines? Yeah? £300 odd. Yeah, go on. Yeah, fine, no problem. No. We're definitely not bringing out any Primaris ones. No. Till 2026, when we need the money, then we'll definitely bring up.
Yeah, God, I hope they don't call them Primaris. I just hope it's that scale. The Terminators, right? I hope it's like that. Like the Stern Guard.
What they're going to do?
What's up?
Oh, it's going to be... do you know that old Grey Knight Terminator squad you got that you could make 6 different things from? You know? Right, okay, that's gone. Now we have the Paladin box set. And you did get 5 models, now you get 3. You can only be posed one way, with 1 or 2 weapons each that you can choose from. And by the way, we're bumping up the price by 10% because go fuck yourself. That's what we're going to get. And then it'll be, we're also doing a Grey Knight Terminator box set. Aren't they just the Paladins? No. If you want one of these, you're going to have to buy 2 boxes instead of 1. 2 boxes now, double the money for us, and everybody wins. That's the way that it's going to go when we get... I'm telling you. And they'll do a purifier box set with 5 models in it.
Just easy to build.
I'm telling you now, they will do a purifier box set Right now, you can make Purifier. You can make 10 Purifiers if you want, right from the Grey Knight Strike Team box set. They're going to bring out a 5-unit Primaris-sized Paladin, Purifier box set. That is more expensive. It'll be like 42 something. It'll be 42.50 or something like that for just 5 models. And then they'll give you the 10 box of normal strike Grey Knights, 37.50, and everyone will applaud them. Going, oh,
amazing! Yeah, your saviors
Primaris.
here. Yeah,
The same price. And you look at the rest of the range, and you're like, what the fuck did the dude do to, like, oh god. No. And what are you gonna? By the way, you changed the Dread Knight now, so they can't bring out a new Dread Knight for Primaris upgrade, can they?
I wouldn't think so.
Too cynical.
No, I wouldn't think so. I think it's too bad because oh yeah, when we spoke about the Space Wolves, I had this in my notes actually, and I forgot to mention it. Like you can see that there seems to be a design intention around the Space Wolves models. Maybe I'll bring them back up again. Around this idea of like making them a bit more grounded, a bit less cringe. Like Games Workshop didn't decide to redo Wolfen or Thunderwolf Cavalry. They gave you new battle head takers, these new veteran guys,
yes.
right? And
yes.
That's basically, instead of that more cheesy, sillier stuff, right? Kind of let that fade to the background, keep it in Legends, whatever. Like that's how I would actually prefer it to be handled. And you ground your Space Marines a bit more. Why the fuck did they not ground the Grey Knights and let the Nemesis Dread Knight fade into the background? Keep it in support for rules, sell it, but it doesn't have to be front and center as your centerpiece. It's just so weird to me. Super weird.
You could do like a quite easily. You could have had, or how do I put it? Could have had your Dread Knight there, no problem. Absolutely, but just make it. All these conversions you see and all these third-party models you see, where it's all enclosed, you don't see the guy in a baby carrier, right? Mm-hmm. And you make it more grimdark. This isn't a thing that somebody's got into. This is a Grandmaster who's crippled and now is ascended to be this Dread Knight. Yeah,
if it's their version of a Dreadnought, basically.
Yeah. You retire the Dreadnought for the Grey Knights. We now no longer have Dreadnoughts. We now have Dread Knights. That's what we have.
Yeah, and you use the modeling resources to not upgrade the old one half-assed. You kind of reinterpret the idea in a more tasteful kind of interpretation. Yeah.
Even better, strip away their psychic powers. Right? Because they're so angry at being stuck in this thing that they need to be asleep all the time. And they're only unleashed in the most dire of situations, and they just come in. And their hatred and their belief in the Emperor is so much that they just can't be touched by demons, that kind of a thing. And that would be badass. I'd get some of those, but they don't. They don't. That would make too much sense. No, you can't have that.
Yeah, you can't have your design choices make sense around the Grey Knights.
Buy the baby carrier, stupid nerd.
Yeah, I don't.
Buy the baby carrier.
Why spend an upgrade resource on a Dread Knight? I don't. Whatever. Yeah, we've beaten that horse. I guess we can wrap up here. I suppose we've been going for about an hour plus, a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
If there's anything else you wish to add, but I think I got through all of the points in my notes.
No, I'm all good. I've done all my points. I've done some of my points twice. But yeah, all good. All good.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining me for a later unpacking of the Adepticon stuff. I appreciate it.
No worries, man. No worries. That was fun. We need to do it again.
Awesome. Yeah. So everybody, definitely check out Northern Exile's channel. I'll put a link to Northern Exile's YouTube page in the description of this video, and give them some love, some subscribes if you haven't already. And I guess we'll catch you on the next one, probably a Grimdark Therapy.
All right, guys. See you soon.
Later.